But my next guest sees some positive signs out there, especially for the Mag 7. Andres Garcia Amaya is here on set with me. He's the CEO at Zoe Financial. And I think your view on tariffs is also maybe a little bit more constructive than what Tobin was just laying out, or maybe it's not.
Yeah, what I would say is that it's always darkest before the dawn, right? And in this case, we don't know what the dawn is for the markets, but we do know what it is for tariffs. We have a date assigned to it. And I think the market just doesn't like uncertainty. Whatever is it that they're going to tell us,
right,
going back to at least they'll know what to put into the model. And that in itself as a positive catalyst. And then when you were mentioning about earnings, I mean, earnings season is coming up. That is what drives markets, like in the long term and even in the medium term. So Mag 7, my comments around that were more that earnings revisions, negative earnings revisions, are starting to bottom. Morgan Stanley had a great piece on this. And Mag 7 is what brought us up and is also what has brought us down. So if they start to show a bottom, that could be the beginning of a rally.
Have they brought us down because their estimates were being revised lower?
Well, yes. I mean, their earnings revisions have been pretty drastic on the way down, even more than the rest of the market. Now, the rest of the other sectors are probably affected more by the tariffs, right? And we'll see what they have to put into their models going forward. But the other contraindicator that I look for is consumer sentiment. It looks essentially, it's like as bad as it's been.
So you're also in the contrarian camp that when it gets this bad, it's a buy.
I mean, historically, if you look at the Michigan index, the last 9 times that we saw a bottom. Now, we don't know if this is the bottom, but the last time we saw a bottom, we saw over 20% returns over the next 12 months. That's great. Right. So going back to as dark as before the dawn, that's a clear indication.
You were just talking, though, about, whether sentiment has gotten so bad that it could now be somewhat of an inflection point. And the other signs I thought were interesting you point to are the fact that global markets are doing well right now. If we were heading into a slowing of the U.S. economy, you'd think that's going to take others down with it.
Yeah, you have to carefully look at what the rest of the world is doing, because if we were going to see not just a slowdown, but a recession, it most likely would start showing up not just in the U.S., but globally. But you see Germany up in double digits. You see Asia in double digits. So from that perspective, it gives me comfort that we're not quite at hey, we're heading into a recession. The soft data is showing deterioration, but it hasn't quite shown up in the hard numbers.
And we'll have more on that in a second. I mean, do you worry position or anything like that in terms of a stagflationary outcome for stocks? Are you basically just remaining bullish and thinking we're going to navigate through this period, but no slowdown, no real stagflation concern? Yeah,
it's one of those it usually looks, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. But also if it looks too bad to be true, it probably is not. Right now, we're in the world's ending scenario, which I don't think is quite the baseline. Yes, the soft numbers are getting worse, but that usually doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to show up in the hard numbers. So we're going to have to wait and see. I don't have a crystal ball,
right,
but it's not quite yet the moment of saying we're heading into a recession or we're going to see stagflation.
Are you kind of tilting towards Mag 7, anything like that, where you think that there's, particular opportunity or what, anything like that right now?
I think that sectors like financials still look more appealing from a valuation standpoint. I look at the Mag 7 more of, are they still going to drag us down the way they did the last couple of weeks, or are they starting to stabilize? And that's where the earnings revisions starting to stabilize is a good sign.
All right. And maybe the market will too. So we look at yet another trading session. We're trying to get to that point. Andres, thanks. Really appreciate it. Andres Garcia Amaya.